Naruto exclusive videos lemon come out on my boosty. You can watch and subscribe. Link in the description, like the video and write a comment, enjoy watching. Description: Uzumaki Naruto is an orphan from Konohagakure. The nine-tailed demon fox is sealed within him, and because of this, people don't like him. Naruto himself plays the role of a weakling and a simpleton. And only a few are aware of the experiments that the boy conducts in the underground laboratory that once belonged to Orochimaru. Will Naruto achieve his goals with the power he has accumulated? And what will happen to him if the village he lives in turns against him? Who knows? Chapter 1. New Friend. Naruto Uzumaki hated his own birthdays. In 5 years of his life, he had not received a single gift on this day. Although what kind of gifts could there be from those who hate you? And everyone hated Naruto, with the possible exception of the old Hokage. There was also Hinata Hyuga, whom the boy had once protected from bullies. True, he himself had gotten it badly, but fortunately, Naruto always healed very quickly. Since then, for some reason, Hinata blushes terribly in his presence, and cannot string together a couple of words. But at least she does not look at him with hatred, like others. Another reason to dislike October 10th was the Kyuubi attack on the village. Exactly 5 years ago, the nine-tailed demon fox broke free and destroyed half of Konoha. The fourth Hokage managed to defeat the demon at the cost of his own life. This day was also a day of mourning, so Naruto, who always tried to be like the fourth, was sadder than usual. In addition, it was on this day that he risked running into disgruntled residents more than usual. Demon! This is what Naruto heard when he was walking down the street. The boy did not know why they disliked him so much, but there was no one to ask for an explanation. Even the third Hokage, who treated the boy more or less normally, did not answer this question. However, as well as the question about the identity of his parents. Naruto was an orphan. All he managed to find out was that his parents were dead and they died during the Kyuubi attack. However, the boy figured this out himself, comparing several facts. If there was one thing he could do, it was reason logically. However, Naruto was in no hurry to show his intelligence. He once read in one book that the enemy must be forced to underestimate you, and then he will become easy prey. These words became Naruto's life credo. Of course, he didn't consider the villagers his enemies, but he didn't consider them his friends either. Let them underestimate me. It will be easier for me that way, the boy thought. He guessed that people's hatred was caused by fear. But Naruto couldn't understand what was the cause of this fear. It wasn't him, no. They weren't afraid of him. But there was something inside him that caused panic fear, which gave rise to hatred. Now the blonde boy was sitting in his favorite place. This place was the Hokage monument. Sitting on the platform, right above the stone head of the fourth, Naruto could see all of Konoha. The village was in the palm of his hand. The boy was, as usual, discussing the hatred that surrounded him, when 3 tipsy shinobi appeared on the platform. "Oh, there he is!" the tallest of them said, swaying. "The little rascal decided to hide from the others?" Naruto tensed. This was exactly what he was afraid of. If he didn't manage to get out of here in time, he risked ending up in the hospital he hated so much again. Luckily for the boy, all 3 of them had clearly had too much to drink, and their coordination was severely impaired. So Naruto, without waiting for all 3 to come close, jumped up from his seat and hurried to leave. Perhaps he hurried too much, because he immediately tripped and fell to the ground, hitting his head hard. All 3 burst out laughing and decided to kick the boy a little, but at that very moment an ANBU fighter appeared on the platform. "What happened here?" a cold voice rang out from under the mask. "Nothing," one of the drunk shinobi boldly answered. "He fell on his own, we didn't even touch him." Having given all 3 of them suspicious glances, the ANBU soldier sat down next to the unconscious Naruto. Looks like a concussion. We should take the boy to the hospital," he said to himself. After which he easily threw Naruto over his shoulder and disappeared from sight. Drip, drip, drip. Naruto came to an incomprehensible place. He was lying in some strange corridor. Pipes were stretched under the ceiling, from which water was dripping. There were no sources of light, but Naruto saw everything perfectly. Where am I? The boy asked himself. He got to his feet, only now noticing that he was lying in water. The corridor was flooded about ankle deep. Without thinking twice, Naruto went forward. He felt that there, in the depths of the labyrinth, there was something important. After passing several turns, the boy came out into a spacious hall, half partitioned by a golden grate. The gate leaves were held in place by a piece of paper with the kanji for seal depicted on it. From the darkness of the cage, two blood-red eyes with a vertical pupil looked attentively at the alien. So this is what my jailer looks like, a growling voice was heard from behind the bars. How absurd. I, the strongest of demons, am being held within some weak boy. And who are you? Asked Naruto, ignoring the last words. Me? The owner of the voice laughed. You brat, don't even know who is sealed within you. No, I don't know, the boy was not offended by the insults. Sometimes he was called even worse. In addition, he considered himself weak and helpless and understood that the words of the mysterious interlocutor were quite justified. Ha, what a trifle! His eyes approached the bars, and Naruto saw the face of a giant fox in front of him. Now I recognize you, the boy carefully examined his interlocutor. They call you Kyubi no Yoko, the nine-tailed demon fox. True, the fox bared his teeth. And you are not like the others. You are much more polite. Listen, boy, let me out of here. Naruto thought about it. Despite all the stories about the nine tails, the boy, without knowing why, sympathized with the demon. Yes, perhaps his parents died because of him, but he was also a victim of loneliness. Like Naruto, could we become friends? The boy asked hopefully, taking hold of the edge of the seal. Friends? The fox thundered in surprise and laughed again. You are an interesting person. Why do you want to be friends with me? Because I have no friends at all, Naruto answered, gradually tearing off the seal. It held tightly, but still gave in. At that moment, a paw stuck out of the cage and stopped the boy. Wait, the fox said excitedly. Do you really want to be friends? Of course, Naruto nodded. After all, I don't have any other friends at all. Then wait to tear off the seal, the nine tails answered quietly. And by the way, you and I still haven't learned each other's names. Oh yeah, that's right, sorry, the boy blushed. My name is Uzumaki Naruto. Uzumaki again, the fox grinned. As you rightly noted, they call me Kyubi no Yoko. But my real name is Kurama. Nice to meet you, Kurama-san. Naruto bowed and took hold of the seal again. Stop! Shouted the fox. Don't tear it off. But why? The boy was surprised. I want to let you out of this cage. First of all, let's be informal. Friends don't need to call each other by the formal name, answered Kurama. And secondly, to let me out, you need to open the seal with a special key. If you tear it off roughly, I will simply absorb your body and mind, even if I don't want to. Where can I get the key? Naruto became interested. He wanted to help his only friend with all his might. I don't know, the fox shook his head. Most likely, from the toads with whom the fourth Hokage signed a contract, sealing me and you. But what is needed to get this key, and whether it is even possible, I also don't know, so I can't let you out. Naruto was upset. But then determination appeared on his face. No! I'll open the cage now, even at the cost of my life. You're the first one who called me a true friend. Straining, Naruto pulled the seal again. Now only a corner remained in place. Stop, Naruto! Two voices shouted at the same time. One voice belonged to the fox, and the second? The boy turned around. In front of him stood a tall blond man in a long white cloak with an ornament in the form of red tongues of flame. Naruto recognized him, because this man was his idol. Minato, the fox looked intently towards another alien. The fourth Hokage, the boy whispered. But how do you know my name? I gave it to you, Minato smiled. After all, I am your father. Father? Naruto asked in a trembling voice. But why didn't anyone tell me about this? Nobody told me? Echoed the fourth. What do you mean, no one told me? No one ever told me who my parents are, the boy burst into tears. No one has ever talked to me about anything. All they know is to call me a demon. Some try to beat me up so that I die and don't get in their way. With every word, Minato's appearance became more and more pitiful, and the fox became furious. Humans! All they know is to offend the weak, he roared. And they have the nerve to call us demons. Quiet, fox, the fourth tried to shut him up, but was stopped by a blow to the solar plexus. Weak, but sensitive enough. Don't you dare yell at my only friend, the boy shouted. Friend? Croaked Minato. Naruto's blow hit a very sensitive spot. You call him a friend? He is the only one who understood and accepted me, Naruto shouted, getting ready to pull the seal again. And stop calling him Fox. He has a name. The seal was almost torn off, and Kyuubi panicked. Fourth. Stop him. The Bija thrashed around in his cage. He doesn't know what he's doing. At that moment, Naruto still managed to tear off the leaf, which immediately disappeared. The lattice also dissolved, and a wide stream of bright red chakra stretched from the fox to Naruto. No, Naruto, what have you done? Kurama whined, trying to cut off the chakra beam. My chakra is poisonous to you, it will simply kill you. But to the great surprise of both Minato and Kyuubi, the chakra did not harm Naruto in any way, but was simply absorbed into the body. What does this mean? Minato whispered. Rikudo, Kurama exhaled. He is a descendant of Rikudo Sennin. The blood of the Uchiha and Senju is combined in him. Otherwise, where would such power come from? Meanwhile, Naruto's eyes began to undergo metamorphosis. The giant fox and the man standing next to him saw that the Rinnegan was now glowing with a weak light in the boy's eyes. At that moment, a response flow of chakra gushed out of him, which made the fox's fur a little lighter. He is definitely a descendant of our father, Kurama said. The world around him was rapidly transforming. The water disappeared, and the corridors were filled with a bright golden light. The inner abode of the Kyuubi was decorated with an image of balance. The seal is removed, and I can leave his body. But I will not do this. He was the first after Rikudo to call me a friend. And I will take care of him. Are you serious? The fourth was surprised. Yes. I apologize for killing you. The fox bowed his head guiltily. Forget it, Minato answered amiably. I'm glad that the Kyuubi no Yoko himself will be watching over my son. His name is Kurama, father, Naruto said quietly, looking at the fourth with his new eyes. He is my friend, so please address him with respect. And the kid will go far, the fox grinned. Before I disappear, I wanted to tell you a few important things, Naruto, said Minato. But my time is running out, so we will do this. Having made several seals, he touched his son's forehead. Naruto shuddered when he felt that his father transferred his memory to him. Thank you, Dad, the boy hugged his father. Thank you for everything. I'm sorry that I had to seal Kurama in you, Minato sighed, dissolving. Goodbye, son. And special thanks for Kurama, Naruto waved his hand to his father. We will become good friends. Bye, Dad. Say hello to Mom. And one more thing. Never say goodbye. Chapter 2. Naruto's Idol. When Naruto woke up the next day, the first thing he did was run away from the hospital. The doctors, of course, treated him with the care required by their profession, but the boy still didn't trust anyone. Besides, he had something to discuss with his new friend, and it was better to do it where there were no extra ears. And Naruto knew such a place. A year ago, on his last birthday, he found the entrance to a secret underground labyrinth, which led the boy to some small room. Naruto used this place when he wanted to hide from someone or just be alone. Now this place was perfect. Having gone through all the corridors and past all the traps, Naruto finally reached the place and lit a torch on the wall. Kurama? He called. Bright red chakra appeared from the drawing that was still on his stomach, and immediately took the form of a fox. Interesting place. The Nine-Tails grinned. Do you live here? No. I just come here sometimes. It's nice here, no one can find me. Naruto explained. Really? Kurama asked again, looking around. Yes. To get here, you need to go through several corridors in which it's easy to get lost. And there are also traps in them, but I can pass by them without hitting them. You're not bad. The translucent fox was surprised. Have you ever looked for information about who this place might belong to? Apparently, this is a passage to one of the laboratories of the snake Sannin Orochimaru, but I'm not sure. The boy shrugged. I looked for information in the ANBU archives, but I never found confirmation of my guesses. You managed to get in there too? Kurama's jaw dropped. Yeah. I can imagine what you can do now with your new eyes. Eyes? Naruto asked again and immediately took an oblong mirror out of his pocket. Wow. This is, the Rinnegan, the most powerful dojutsu. You know about it too, the fox stated the fact. I don't know what to be surprised about anymore, and what shouldn't be. I know a lot, but unfortunately, my knowledge is rarely useful to me. Naruto suddenly became sad. My body is weak, and I don't have the opportunity to train properly. Why? Kurama was surprised. I don't want anyone to see my training, the boy explained. I live in such a way that no one knows that I'm smart. I constantly make a fool of myself. Let them think that I'm not dangerous. That's it, said the fox. Do you want us to wipe this village off the face of the earth? In a jiffy, and it's gone. No, the boy answered firmly. Even though they treat me like a beast, I don't consider them my enemies. Not yet. The fox was quite satisfied with the word. For now. In the end, he didn't really want to attack Konoha either. Usually, he was forced to do it. Naruto, listen, the fox began. I can train you. It can be done here too, although of course, there is not enough space. Probably, the boy nodded. Suddenly, as if noticing something, he went to the corner and pressed on some ledge. Part of the wall moved aside and opened a passage into a spacious room. Wow, Naruto and Kurama breathed out in admiration. The fox immediately turned to his little master. How did you know where to press? I saw it. The chakra flows are visible in this place. Naruto shrugged and smiled. I like the new eyes better. But I need to figure out how to hide them. I don't want to show them to anyone. Glasses or lenses, Kurama suggested. A universal option. You can also apply hench, but I don't think you know how to use it. Hench? Transformation technique? Naruto asked again. I've read the theory, but I've never tried to do it. Well, try it, suggested the fox. In the meantime, I'll look around. Maybe I'll find something useful. Hokage-sama, an ANBU fighter in a cat mask, the same one who had taken Naruto to the hospital yesterday, looked through the office door. We have an emergency. Naruto escaped again? Asked old man Sarutobi with a sigh. Yes. But we can't find him anywhere, answered the cat. It's like he disappeared into thin air. Comb the surrounding training grounds, answered the Hokage. Yes. The cat disappeared behind the door, and Sarutobi examined the surroundings with the help of his crystal ball. However, Naruto was nowhere to be seen, especially considering how he stood out from the crowd with his orange clothes. No. Not here either. Not here either. Where did you disappear to, Naruto? Muttered the third under his breath. A couple of hours later, Naruto finally managed to properly perform the transformation technique. However, normal. That's what the boy himself thought. Kurama, who was watching his training, said that the technique was at a very, very high level. A random scratch did not reset the transformation, and stability reached its limit. Naruto could easily turn into any person and maintain the technique for several hours without any problems. Hypothetically. There was no time to check it. Talent, definitely talent, the fox grinned. No, that's not it. The power of the Uzumaki clan. Do you know anything about the others from the clan? asked Naruto, remembering Kurama's words said during their first meeting. Uzumaki again. Only that all my Jinchuriki were from this clan, answered the Nine Tails. Uzumaki Mido is the wife of the first Hokage, Uzumaki Kushina is the wife of the fourth Hokage, and Uzumaki Naruto is the wife of… Oops. Sorry, got carried away. Uzumaki Kushina, the fourth Hokage's wife, repeated Naruto, ignoring the fox's slip. So you were sealed in my mother. What happened? Why did you come out? I was torn from her by force, answered Kurama, and immediately subjugated to their will. The order was to destroy Konoha. When the control disappeared, I was furious. Your father and mother fell under the hot paw. Forgive me. Oh well, the boy smiled. Of course, I would like Mom and Dad to be alive. But it can be done. I know that the second Hokage knew how to revive people, and then Orochimaru-san learned this technique. That's why I want to meet him. Okay, we have to go. Old Hokage is probably already looking for me. Don't forget to put the transformation on your eyes, reminded the Nine Tails. Yes, of course. Henge. The boy's eyes were momentarily shrouded in mist, and then became normal again. Leaving the lab, Naruto pressed the previous ledge and closed the entrance. Kurama turned into chakra and was absorbed back. Having extinguished the torch, the boy headed for the exit. 2 hours of searching had yielded nothing. The cat was already exhausted to the limit, as he had run around Konoha several times. However, passing by Ichiraku Ramen, he heard a familiar voice. More! The blonde boy shouted. Right now, Naruto, Tsuchi, the owner of the restaurant, answered him with a laugh. He and his daughter Ayame had always treated the boy well. Naruto was very grateful to them for this, as it was the only place where he was not driven away, and he was free from hateful glances for a while. There you are, Naruto, the cat said, and leaned against the wall, waiting for the boy's meal to end. However, he had to wait a long time. Naruto was a professional in the field of ramen consumption and never left without eating less than 6 portions. Finally, when Naruto's belly was full, and his wallet, on the contrary, was a little thinner, the boy left the hospitable restaurant. Naruto, the cat stretched, straightening out his stiff muscles. Hokage-sama wants to see you. What else does he want? The boy's cheerful mood disappeared as if by the wind when he saw the Anbyu fighter. Naruto didn't trust shinobi and those who hid their faces. Thus, he didn't trust Anbyu fighters doubly. I don't have the slightest idea, the Anbyu fighter answered, holding out his hand. He probably wants to give you a dressing down for running away from the hospital. I'll walk myself, Naruto muttered, refusing to take his hand. I'm not a little one. As you wish, the cat shrugged, disappearing in a cloud of smoke. Uzumaki, looking at the place where the Anbyu fighter had just stood, sighed heavily. Whether you like it or not, you'll have to go to the Hokage. Sighing again, Naruto trudged towards the residence. Chapter 3. Shadow Cloning. I found Naruto, Hokage-sama, reported the cat. He will be here soon. Okay, Tenzo, answered Sarutobi, lighting his pipe. I wonder where he has been all this time. You should ask him about it yourself, answered the Anbyu, in a slightly displeased tone. And, Hokage-sama, I asked you. About the name, don't you like it when they mention your real name, Yamato? The old man chuckled good-naturedly, deliberately highlighting the standard nickname of the cat. Okay, you are free. Yamato disappeared in a cloud of smoke, leaving Sarutobi alone, but not for long. A couple of minutes later there was a knock on the door. Come in. Did you call me, old man? Naruto asked in a tone full of displeasure. He never observed subordination, which usually terribly irritated most of the shinobi. I did, Naruto, the Hokage sighed. You ran away from the hospital again. I hate hospitals and doctors, the boy answered. Sarutobi shook his head and asked the next question. You weren't in the village today. Where have you been? Didn't your all-powerful Anbyu think to check my house? The blonde asked in a caustic tone. I checked. You weren't there. Okay. Naruto looked intently at the third. A strange expression flashed across his face, as if the boy was deciding whether to confess or not. I was training. You weren't at the training grounds, the Hokage objected. Don't lie to me. I'm not lying at all. The boy raised his voice. I was training in performing the transformation technique. The transformation technique? Sarutobi was surprised. And how are you doing? Not bad, Naruto answered briefly. Will you demonstrate? Are we on an exam? The boy answered a question with a question. No, and that's why I don't want to bother. The Hokage only sighed. Not only did Naruto not recognize authority, but he also grew up to be an incredibly suspicious person. He never trusted anyone, and the only time his face was happy was when he visited Ichiraku Ramen. Naruto, why do you never tell me anything? Do I have to? The blonde again avoided answering. I don't trust anyone in the village. Especially the ANBU in their masks. Naruto, one of our ANBU brought you to the hospital yesterday, Sarutobi said softly. If it weren't for him, then nothing would have happened to me, Naruto cut him off. Maybe I would have been beaten up a little, as usual. But I would still be alive. Jinchuriki are hard to kill. Sarutobi turned pale, and the boy bit his tongue, realizing that he had said too much. But a word is not a sparrow. How do you know this, Naruto? The Hokage asked quietly. I have the 8 trigram seal on my stomach, Uzumaki grinned, immediately thinking of what to say. A seal of such power is only used to seal Biju, or especially dangerous criminals. Since the latter is unlikely, then most likely I am a Jinchuriki. How do you know about this seal? I read it in some library book, Naruto answered shortly, making it clear with his whole appearance that he did not want to continue the conversation any longer. Sarutobi sighed. It seemed the boy learned too much. However, the Hokage did not even suspect that Uzumaki knew much more than he was supposed to know. You can go, Naruto, the Hokage said just as quietly, and the blonde immediately left the office. Quickly running down the street, the boy reached home, locked the door, and began to wildly reproach himself. How could you screw up like that? Naruto almost screamed. I almost destroyed the mask of the fool I was pretending to be all this time with my own hands. Calm down, Naruto, Kurama tried to calm the boy down. Quiet down, I told you. What a noisy Jinchuriki we got. Quiet. The blonde came to his senses from the thunderous scream in his subconscious. And when it dawned on him that the house was actually being watched, and he had almost been caught for the second time, the boy collapsed on the floor and started having hysterics. True, it was absolutely silent. Half an hour later, Naruto had scolded himself enough and calmed down. Then, not knowing what to do, he simply lay down in bed, although it was still light outside. The hysteria had done its job, and the boy, who had just spent a lot of his nerves, fell fast asleep. Waking up the next day, Naruto had breakfast and, as usual, went wandering around Konoha. He hadn't gone to the academy yet, and there was nothing to do. Are you bored? Kurama asked from his subconscious. Yeah, Uzumaki answered sullenly. The communication was mental, and no one heard it. So let's go train, suggested the fox. Where? To Orochimaru's laboratory? Why? Taijutsu can and should be practiced in the fresh air. Taijutsu? Naruto thought. And why not? Okay, let's look at the distant training ground. 15 minutes later, the boy reached training ground number 4. This training ground was much further than the others and had a bad reputation because of its number. However, it was here that Naruto could usually enjoy solitude. True, he used it for training for the first time. Under the sensitive guidance of Kurama, Naruto did a rather long jog and completed a full set of taijutsu exercises. The fox was a strict teacher, but the boy seemed not to feel the strain. Yeah, drawled the nine-tailed. And here I thought that you would collapse from just running. After all, I don't seem to give you my chakra. Here it is, the famous Uzumaki endurance. And the result of my pranks, the blonde giggled, catching his breath. Do you know how sometimes I had to run away from drunk shinobi or angry Konoha residents? Adrenaline in the blood and a sense of danger behind my back. Perhaps that is why I sometimes like to misbehave. It's good that you haven't been caught doing this yet, the fox summed up. Well, okay, let's rest, and then we'll run through all the exercises a second time. By evening, Naruto had lost ground significantly. He began to get tired on the 7th time, and the last one turned out to be harder than all the others combined. But Naruto had no shortage of perseverance. The boy firmly decided to become stronger, in order to. He hadn't decided yet why. The next day, all his muscles ached terribly from being unaccustomed to it, but Naruto didn't pay attention to it and continued training. Naruto's life took on a new pace. Now he had no time to be naughty. He spent almost all his time on the training ground or in Orochimaru's old laboratory, which became his second home. However, Naruto returned home solely to avoid raising suspicion. If the boy did not feel that he was being constantly followed, he would not have left the bunker. However, every time Naruto disappeared from the ANBU's site for more than 6 hours, conversations with the Hokage began, during which the boy stubbornly remained silent. Finally, this problem became quite acute. The fact is that Naruto came across descriptions of the snake Sannin's experiments, and decided to try to repeat them. Why? Even he himself did not know the answer to this question. However, there were no records of simple experiments, and those that were required continuous monitoring for several hours. Kurama, do you have any ideas on how to remove surveillance without suspicion? Naruto once asked the fox. Over the course of several months, the boy became convinced that the Ninetales was a real walking library. There is one technique, the fox answered after thinking for a bit. It's called the shadow clone technique. It creates a completely real body, and with its help, one could easily fool any surveillance. True, it's a bit difficult to perform. Although, it won't be difficult for you. The shadow clone technique, huh? Uzumaki thought. Okay, we'll find out. The next day, Naruto went to the library and looked through a ton of information. However, he found only one mention of the shadow clone technique. Nonsense, the blonde said irritably, having read the lines that interested him. The shadow clone technique is considered forbidden because of its high chakra consumption. Ugh! So what to do now? Your Hokage, it seems, kept a scroll with forbidden techniques, right? Asked Kurama. Yes, but stealing it from under the old man's nose. It's not an easy task, Naruto answered discontentedly, but then a sly smile lit up his face. Although, when have I ever given up in the face of difficulties? The perfect execution of the transformation technique allowed Naruto to freely collect information about the structural features of the female body. Or, in normal language, sneak into the women's bathhouse. If only Naruto knew that he was acting like his godfather at that moment. After a couple of such information gatherings, the boy greatly improved his new technique, which he called Oiroke no Jutsu, a seduction technique. Even the Hokage could not resist this. Night. Shinobi time. His time. Naruto quietly moved along the corridor of the Hokage's residence. He had noticed where the scroll with forbidden techniques lay a long time ago. Now all that was left was to gently requisition this valuable source of information. It was not difficult to sneak into the Hokage's office. There it was, the goal, right before his eyes. But a silhouette appeared behind him. Naruto? What are you, seduction technique? What the? Oh. That's it. The Hokage is lying in shock, Naruto is happy, the technique worked perfectly. It's time for the second idea. Replacement technique, the boy whispered, touching the scroll. A pre-prepared log appeared in place of the weighty repository of knowledge. Henjigen and the forbidden scroll is already taking its rightful place. And the boy quietly disappears from the residence. As I see, everything went well, Kurama summed up, looking at Naruto who flew into the lab. The scroll is here. Moreover, it turns out that there are such techniques. In short, I'll have to copy the whole thing. I know, Naruto nodded, unrolling the scroll. But first, it wouldn't hurt for me to learn this technique. It will be easier to copy if there are many of us. A few hours later, 24 clones were already poring over the scroll. Naruto was very pleased with the new technique. Before dawn, the scroll was returned to its place using the replacement technique. The Hokage decided that he had had an unusually strange dream. Chapter 4. Uzumaki Experiments. In the morning, Naruto had a serious talk with the Hokage. But the blonde denied his attitude towards the events of the night, and Sarutobi left the boy alone. To Uzumaki's great joy, he found a very interesting technique in the copied notes. "Kurama," Naruto roared joyfully. "Look what I found!" "What do you have there?" the fox muttered, climbing out. So. Second Hokage, Edo Tensei, the technique of Wait. Resurrection? Do you think this is it? I'm sure. The boy happily jumped up and down and began to read the description of the technique together with the fox. But with each line he read, the blonde's joyful expression changed to sadness. "Yeah, well," Kurama scratched his ear with his paw. "Looks like it's not that simple, Naruto." "I already got it," the boy answered sullenly. "The technique requires a human sacrifice one. The technique does not revive people, but corpses too. You need to have the DNA of the people you are summoning. 3 sealed souls cannot be summoned. 4. It looks like you won't be able to summon your parents using this technique," Kurama summed up. "We'll have to look for another way." "And I will definitely find it," Naruto shouted. "I give you my word that I will not rest until I find a way to revive my parents from the dead." Ever since then, Uzumaki really lost his peace. While the ANBU were watching the shadow clone, the boy trained hard. First of all, he mastered his dojutsu. Often spying on the training of young shinobi teams, he memorized and later reproduced elemental ninjutsu. He invented new techniques based on old ones. Naruto used everything that could make him stronger without hesitation. Having rummaged through the memories left by his father, he found a mention of movement techniques there, in particular, the flight of the Thunder God. Since the Rinnegan had already given the young researcher control over the lightning element, Naruto easily learned and performed this technique. Kurama was already tired of being surprised by his Jinchuriki. "Naruto, you're overloading yourself too much," the fox once noted. "Why do you need all this?" "You're asking stupid questions," the boy shook his head. "I need power." "Why do you need it?" Kurama did not calm down. "Power corrupts when it is used for the wrong purposes." "I know better. I must be able to protect myself from any danger," Naruto answered. Looking towards the fox, he added, "And my friend too." Kurama grinned contentedly. He knew that he was the boy's best friend. The only one, he would even say. 2 years of hard training passed. Naruto went to the academy, where he proved himself from the worst side. However, no one even guessed that under the mask of a noisy idiot hid a cold and calculating mind. "Congratulations, Itachi," said the old man Sarutobi to the 13-year-old boy standing in front of him. "Now you are officially a member of ANBU. It is an honor for me to serve for the good of the village." The Uchiha bowed, holding a raven mask in his hand. "Your task will seem quite simple to you at first glance," the Hokage began. "However, I must warn you that the mission is very important and very difficult." "What mission?" There were notes of impatience in Itachi's voice. "Your task will be to spy on Uzumaki Naruto. You probably know that he is the Jinchuriki of the Hidden Leaf Village." "Yes," the Uchiha nodded. "But I still don't think that spying on a 7-year-old boy will be so difficult." "Read the reports of the cat," Sarutobi grinned, taking a folder out of the table. "And then tell me whether it will be simple or not." For a few minutes there was silence in the office, broken only by the rustling of pages and puffing on a pipe. "Yes, it seems Naruto is not as simple as he seems," Itachi gave his verdict. "Judging by the reports, he has mastered substitution, transformation, and perhaps even cloning techniques. And on top of that, he also does not trust anyone." "What did I tell you?" The Hokage grinned again. Itachi was silent for a while, once again running his eyes over the lines of the reports. "Can I contact him? Talk, reveal his identity, and so on?" "If you consider it necessary," the third answered, putting out his pipe. The cat did not do this. But if you want to win his trust, then I will say right away that he does not trust ANBU doubly. The mission promises to be very interesting. Itachi's lips spread into an anticipatory smile. Meanwhile, Naruto in his underground laboratory was preparing for a new experiment. I don't know what you're doing, but I don't really like it, the fox grumbled, looking at the body of a real fox cub, which the blonde brought this morning. Until now, he had been injecting it with some drugs of his own making and monitoring its condition through repaired medical devices. Kurama, please shut up, Naruto answered tiredly. I'm preparing a new body for you. And what is that supposed to mean? Wait a bit, and you'll find out. The fox fell silent, but it was clear from his face that he was unhappy with his owner's excuses. A couple of hours later, Naruto finally unhooked all the wires from the fox cub and carefully picked up the little body. Kurama! What? The fox raised his head and looked at Naruto, who was literally trembling with anticipation of a new experience. Get inside. We'll conduct our little experiment in the fresh air. The fox, as usual, turned his body into chakra and was absorbed into the seal. And Naruto, with the help of the seal he had left in advance, moved to the surface. Having made sure there were no strangers, the blonde placed a barrier around the experimental site. Now let's get started. The boy grinned as the air around him trembled for a moment. Kurama, it's your turn. You need to transfer all of your chakra into this fox's body. Why? The nine-tailed fox was surprised. That's how it has to be. Don't ask unnecessary questions, just go ahead. Okay. The fox muttered and began to transfer his chakra. The fox's body began to glow and grow in size. In addition, 8 more tails began to grow rapidly. When Naruto felt that the fox was becoming too big, he immediately attached several suppressive seals. Finally, the chakra transfer process was complete and the fox, who was already taller than the boy at the withers, opened his eyes. Blood red, with a vertical pupil. Well, I think it worked. Naruto exhaled. It's just that I miscalculated the size a bit. Plus the tails. What's wrong with me? The fox was surprised. A new physical body, to replace the destroyed old one, Naruto answered smiling. I'm tired of seeing you as a ghost made of chakra. Wait a minute. The boy disappeared for a moment. A second later, he appeared with a whole pack of chakra-suppressing seals, some of which he immediately hung on Kurama's body. This made the fox shrink to the size of a large dog. That's better, Naruto grinned. But I still didn't take the tails into account. Okay, let's go to the lab, I'll explain everything there. When Naruto explained to the fox what he had just done, he started to get a headache. The boy used such terminology that Kurama only managed to catch the gist of his explanation. All he understood was that the fox was dying. Naruto managed to keep his body alive. It began to change under the influence of the fox's chakra, and in order for it not to become too big, it was necessary to use suppression seals. So what, do I have to run around with papers for so long? The nine-tailed fox asked, looking at Naruto, who was already fiddling with some black substance that resembled paint. No, the boy answered. I'll put a normal control seal on you now. Be patient, it might burn a little. With these words, he poured the same liquid on the fox's head and quickly folded several hand seals and shouted. Fuinjutsu. Controlled sealing. The paint immediately took the desired shape and was absorbed into the fox's skin, forming a kind of spiral tattoo. Kurama twitched, since his head really began to burn. But the unpleasant sensation did not last long. So, now you control your own size and the number of tails, Naruto exhaled, tearing off the now unnecessary papers with seals from the fox's skin. This will be much better. Thank you, Naruto, the fox grinned contentedly. He knew that he was the boy's best friend. The only one, he would even say. 2 years of hard training passed. Naruto went to the academy, where he proved himself from the worst side. However, no one even guessed that under the mask of a noisy idiot hid a cold and calculating mind. Congratulations, Itachi, said the old man Sarutobi to the 13-year-old boy standing in front of him. Now you are officially a member of ANBU. It is an honor for me to serve for the good of the village, the Uchiha bowed, holding a raven mask in his hand. Your task will seem quite simple to you at first glance, the Hokage began. However, I must warn you that the mission is very important and very difficult. What mission? There were notes of impatience in Itachi's voice. Your task will be to spy on Uzumaki Naruto. You probably know that he is the Jinchuriki of the Hidden Leaf Village. Yes, the Uchiha nodded. But I still don't think that spying on a 7-year-old boy will be so difficult. Read the reports of the cat, Sarutobi grinned, taking a folder out of the table. And then tell me whether it will be simple or not. For a few minutes there was silence in the office, broken only by the rustling of pages and puffing on a pipe. Yes, it seems Naruto is not as simple as he seems, Itachi gave his verdict. Judging by the reports, he has mastered substitution, transformation, and perhaps even cloning techniques. And on top of that, he also does not trust anyone. What did I tell you? The Hokage grinned again. Itachi was silent for a while, once again running his eyes over the lines of the reports. Can I contact him? Talk, reveal his identity, and so on? If you consider it necessary, the third answered, putting out his pipe. The cat did not do this. But if you want to win his trust, then I will say right away that he does not trust Anbuw. The mission promises to be very interesting. Itachi's lips spread into an anticipatory smile. Meanwhile, Naruto in his underground laboratory was preparing for a new experiment. I don't know what you're doing, but I don't really like it, the fox grumbled, looking at the body of a real fox cub, which the blonde brought this morning. Until now, he had been injecting it with some drugs of his own making and monitoring its condition through repaired medical devices. Kurama, please shut up, Naruto answered tiredly. I'm preparing a new body for you. And what is that supposed to mean? Wait a bit, and you'll find out. The fox fell silent, but it was clear from his face that he was unhappy with his owner's excuses. A couple of hours later, Naruto finally unhooked all the wires from the fox cub and carefully picked up the little body. Kurama! What? The fox raised his head and looked at Naruto, who was literally trembling with anticipation of a new experience. Get inside. We'll conduct our little experiment in the fresh air. The fox, as usual, turned his body into chakra and was absorbed into the seal. And Naruto, with the help of the seal he had left in advance, moved to the surface. Having made sure there were no strangers, the blonde placed a barrier around the experimental site. Now let's get started. The boy grinned as the air around him trembled for a moment. Kurama, it's your turn. You need to transfer all of your chakra into this fox's body. Why? The nine-tailed fox was surprised. That's how it has to be. Don't ask unnecessary questions, just go ahead. Okay. The fox muttered and began to transfer his chakra. The fox's body began to glow and grow in size. In addition, 8 more tails began to grow rapidly. When Naruto felt that the fox was becoming too big, he immediately attached several suppressive seals. Finally, the chakra transfer process was complete and the fox, who was already taller than the boy at the withers, opened his eyes. Blood red, with a vertical pupil. Well, I think it worked. Naruto exhaled. It's just that I miscalculated the size a bit. Plus the tails. What's wrong with me? The fox was surprised. A new physical body, to replace the destroyed old one, Naruto answered smiling. I'm tired of seeing you as a ghost made of chakra. Wait a minute. The boy disappeared for a moment. A second later, he appeared with a whole pack of chakra-suppressing seals, some of which he immediately hung on Kurama's body. This made the fox shrink to the size of a large dog. That's better, Naruto grinned. But I still didn't take the tails into account. Okay, let's go to the lab, I'll explain everything there. When Naruto explained to the fox what he had just done, he started to get a headache. The boy used such terminology that Kurama only managed to catch the gist of his explanation. All he understood was that the fox was dying. Naruto managed to keep his body alive. It began to change under the influence of the fox's chakra, and in order for it not to become too big, it was necessary to use suppression seals. So what, do I have to run around with papers for so long? The nine-tailed fox asked, looking at Naruto, who was already fiddling with some black substance that resembled paint. No, the boy answered. I'll put a normal control seal on you now. Be patient, it might burn a little. With these words, he poured the same liquid on the fox's head and quickly folded several hand seals and shouted, Fuinjutsu! Controlled sealing. The paint immediately took the desired shape and was absorbed into the fox's skin, forming a kind of spiral tattoo. Kurama twitched, since his head really began to burn. But the unpleasant sensation did not last long. So, now you control your own size and the number of tails, Naruto exhaled, tearing off the now unnecessary papers with seals from the fox's skin. This will be much better. Thank you, Naruto, the fox grinned contentedly. You gave me a royal gift. Itachi had been watching Naruto for 3 days already. In the morning he goes to the academy, then goes home for lunch, and then wanders around Konoha until night. And obviously, without a goal and so that it would be easier to observe him. The Uchiha did not understand what motivated the boy until he decided to use the Sharingan. The result amazed him. It was not Naruto, but a clone, and a shadow one at that. Rank B technique, Itachi thought dumbfounded. And he has been maintaining it for about 5 hours. Maybe even more. Yes, Naruto is clearly not as simple as he seems. In the bunker, Naruto was busy with another experiment. He decided to make changes to his own DNA chain. The fox was horrified when the boy voiced this idea. Naruto, are you out of your mind? He yelled. The chance of successful implantation is 1 in 60. Kurama, I know better what my chances are, Naruto winced. Besides, you will be helping me. By the way, I want to use part of your DNA too. What? The fox was surprised. The boy only sighed. Under the influence of your chakra, the original DNA of this fox cub changed, Naruto explained in the tone of a teacher explaining a topic to a failing student. I am going to use part of your new chain and implant it into myself. Ah, do whatever you want, the fox waved his paw. I still won't be able to convince you otherwise. That's a smart boy, Naruto smiled. Itachi's investigation had reached a dead end. He had absolutely no idea where to look for the real Naruto. The shadow clone was constantly looming before his eyes, but the original was nowhere to be seen. When the Uchiha had already despaired of finding the boy, the clone suddenly disappeared from sight. His place was taken by the real Naruto, who, whistling a song, went home. A replacement technique combined with cloning, Itachi thought. We should definitely talk to the boy. He's just a genius. Itachi had no idea how accurate his characterization of Uzumaki was. Chapter 5. An ordinary day in the life of a Jinchuriki. When Naruto woke up the next day, he saw that his hair had turned a bright red color. Here it is, the action of the fox DNA. Naruto grinned, remembering yesterday's experience. It looks like everything went as well as possible. Kurama, wake up! It's time to go. I'm already getting up, the fox answered, getting up from his basket. Now he had shrunk to the size of a small fox, removing the extra tails. Naruto decided that there was nothing wrong with carrying his pet around with him. The Inazuki never parted with their dogs, so why was he worse? Therefore, today Naruto carried Kurama with him to the academy, who unexpectedly liked this idea. You'll attract even more attention today than usual. The fox giggled. Yeah, I know, the boy answered him. They could still communicate mentally and took full advantage of it. I can't wait to see how well the DNA took hold. To be honest, I'm surprised it took hold at all. I'm a relative of the Senju, remember? That's right, the fox grinned. The Uzumaki clan was a mixture of a whole bunch of representatives of other clans. Senju, Uchiha, Hyuga, and whoever else wasn't there. Hyuga? Naruto asked, remembering Hinata. Well, I don't know for sure, Kurama hastened to correct himself. If you want to learn more about the Uzumaki clan, then you should go to the library. I see, the former blonde said to himself, entering the academy building. As the fox predicted, Naruto immediately became the object of increased attention. The first to turn his gaze on him, ironically, was Inuzuka Kiba. "What's wrong with your hair, Uzumaki?" He grinned. "Did you spill a can of orange paint on yourself?" "What difference does it make to you, Inuzuka?" the boy snapped. "You even brought a fox with you." He burst out laughing when he saw Kurama peeking out from the collar of Naruto's jacket. "That's why you like orange so much. You're the spitting image of a fox." However, the laughter was interrupted when Uzumaki bared his teeth angrily. His fangs became much larger than they were. His eyes flashed, and the transformation fell from them. Kiba immediately recoiled. The Rinnegan, under the influence of the implanted DNA, changed its color and became blood red. "Demon! Get away from me!" Inuzuka jumped back and disappeared into the classroom. "What's wrong with him?" Naruto asked in surprise. "And you look at yourself in the mirror," answered Kurama, hiding back. The former blonde, and now red-haired, shrugged his shoulders and went to the toilet. When he saw the metamorphosis that had happened to him, he himself almost fainted. "Wow," Naruto muttered. "Hair is still okay. But the fangs, apparently you overdid it a bit with your experience," the fox spoke up. "Apparently," agreed Uzumaki. "Okay, it's time to go to class." "Put up a henge," advised Kurama. The day passed as usual. Nobody believed Kiba's stories, everyone knew that he liked to lie, and no one noticed any changes in Naruto, except for the color of his hair, thanks to the transformation technique. However, in the afternoon, the newly minted redhead still became the object of attention, especially from the girls. The thing is that when everyone went out to the training ground, Naruto took off his jacket and let Kurama out for a walk. "How cute," the female half of the class sighed in unison, looking at the fox cub. Ino and Hinata came closer. "Can I pet him?" asked Yamanaka. "If he himself does not mind," smiled Naruto. Kurama was not against it and blissfully stretched out when Ino began to scratch his belly. In his thoughts, Uzumaki was simply dying of laughter. If only Ino knew who she was petting. "And then Naruto-kun," Hinata began, trembling as usual. What happened to your hair?" Decided to change his image, Naruto smiled again, only this time much warmer. He liked Hinata. She never looked at him with hatred, like the others. However, Ino could also be classified in this category. "What's his name?" asked the blonde, still petting the contented fox. "Kurama." "Kurama?" asked Sensei Irika, who had approached. "Did you name your pet after the clan famous for its illusions?" "No," Naruto shook his head and laughed. "They probably named their clan after my fox." Maybe. Irika smiled in response. He was the only shinobi who did not look at Naruto with hatred, but on the contrary, as if he saw something familiar in him. "Well, okay, today we have practice in throwing kunai and shuriken." Naruto successfully failed the practice. And not at all because he did not know how, but because he did not want to show. Uchiha Sasuke, the best student in the class, hit the target 5 times out of 10. Naruto did not hit even once, although he could easily make all 10 hits. After the former blonde had lunch, he went shopping in his changed form. He needed to buy several chemicals for experiments, which were quite expensive and were not sold to children. In addition, it was high time to choose normal glasses or lenses that would hide Naruto's eyes. It was still difficult to constantly keep the transformation on them. As usual, having sent the clone to walk around Konoha, Naruto turned into a tall brunette, with a face slightly similar to the 4th Hokage. Having walked around the pharmacies and bought everything he needed, the boy was concerned about the second problem. He did not have to choose for long, and soon, Naruto's eyes were adorned with absolutely black sunglasses. Pleased with his choice, the boy moved to the lab and, having checked the progress of some chemical reactions, went to train at his favorite 4th training ground. Kurama remained in the lab to watch over the reagents. However, the training ground was occupied today. One of the ANBU fighters without a mask was training there. Naruto immediately recognized him by his characteristic chakra. It was Kot, the same ANBU fighter who usually watched him. So now someone else is watching me, the boy said to himself. I should find out who exactly. His attention was completely switched to the training cot. Naruto was amazed when he used the very element that the boy wanted to obtain with his experiment. What element or Mokutan? Uzumaki carefully watched the ANBU fighter's techniques with his dojutsu. Uchiha found him doing this. While Naruto was watching Yamato, Itachi was watching Naruto, noticing that the boy's hair color had changed. He must have decided to confuse me this way, the newly minted ANBU thought, smiling. However, when Uzumaki took off his glasses to see better, Itachi abruptly removed the smile from his face. Is that the Sharingan? But that's impossible! And he looks at Yamato's techniques as if he's trying to remember them. But no one can reproduce these techniques. The forest element is a Kekii Genkai. While Itachi was busy thinking, Naruto sensed someone else's chakra. Shifting his gaze from the training Yamato, he quickly discovered another ANBU sitting in the exact spot from where it was best to watch the clearing. And Naruto. You won't get it! The red-haired man chuckled, and seizing the moment, he replaced himself with a previously prepared clone, not forgetting to dispel the copy that was still wandering around Konoha. When Itachi focused his gaze on the object of his surveillance again, he discovered the substitution. Oh no! Cursed the Uchiha. Still, I missed him. Who's here? Yamato grabbed his mask abruptly. Ours, Itachi jumped down from the tree. Raven? What are you doing here? Shouldn't you be watching Uzumaki? You should, answered the Uchiha, pointing his finger at the bushes where Naruto's copy was hiding. Realizing that he had been exposed, the clone dissipated. What a fool! He managed to get away after all. Are you saying that he was here? Yamato was surprised. He was apparently very interested in your training, cat, explained Itachi. And I intend to find out why exactly. After the clone dissipated, Naruto, sitting in his apartment, learned part of the conversation between the two ANBU. So, Raven is watching me now, the boy said to himself. Okay, time to make another foray into the archives and see what kind of Raven this is. Aren't you afraid of being caught? Asked Kurama, getting up from the mat. Still haven't been caught, answered Naruto, shrugging his shoulders. As a last resort, I'll have to use one of my trump cards. I think there's no point in hiding the fact that I know the shadow cloning technique anymore. But as usual, you'll only confess if you're cornered, sighed the fox. As usual, Kurama, as usual. Chapter 6. The Trio of Initiates. The sortie was a success, and Naruto was not caught. The ANBU archive was once again sifted through, and now the boy knew who was watching him. However, Naruto decided to get to know Itachi better to understand whether he was a friend or an enemy. In addition, there was a mention of the Uchiha clan in general, which Uzumaki remembered for the future. A few more days passed. The DNA finally took root, and Naruto tried to use the Mokutan techniques that he had seen during Koda's training. It was quite successful. Naruto even came up with a couple of his own techniques based on this element, testing them on his own clones. Mokutan. Forest shackles. The boy shouted. 1. A small pillar grew out of the ground behind his copy. 2. Vines stretched from the pillar, tightly tying the clone to the pillar. 3. The vines glowed for a moment, and the clone evaporated, as all his chakra was sucked out of him. The new technique turned out to be very effective. However, Naruto had no time to rejoice at this achievement. His head was aching about something else. The fox DNA had made 2 serious changes to his appearance. Of course, it had its advantages. In particular, his hearing and sense of smell had become 10 times sharper. But the grown claws, fangs, reddened eyes and fur-covered fox ears made the former blonde think that this experiment had not been so good. So far, the transformation technique was doing its job, but it could not continue forever. However, this problem was soon solved, not without the help of Kurama. Naruto, he said when the boy returned home after going shopping. Have you ever thought about the fact that even each of us in our own bodies, we are still connected to each other? I have, the boy answered, unpacking his purchases. This connection is explained by the fact that part of your chakra mixed with mine when I broke the seal. Maybe these changes occur because of the mixing of chakra? The fox suggested. Naruto thought. Kurama liked that he didn't have to explain anything to his master. He just had to push him in the right direction and he would find a solution to the problem himself. I broke the seal, and your chakra mixed with mine, the boy began to reason. The presence of fox DNA shifted the human fox balance towards the latter. So that's it. So, I think I see a way out of this situation. And what is it? Asked Kurama, thinking about the fact that the guy would have to redo the gene chain again. I will have to learn to control this process, answered Naruto. There is no other way. DNA changes are irreversible. I think that a controlled seal will help me. This time I will still find the real one, thought Itachi, combing Konoha. Suddenly, his eyes caught Hinata and Ino, discussing something. The Uchiha lingered and listened, since the word Naruto was definitely heard in the conversation. I wonder why he suddenly decided to change his hair color? Ino said. Naruto-kun probably just really likes orange. A deadly color for a ninja, the blonde objected. I have nothing against orange, but for someone who must remain in the shadows, this color is simply deadly. We are not ninjas yet, Ino-chan, Hinata gently cut her friend off. Naruto-kun has the right to look however he wants. That's true, Yamanaka agreed. I wonder where he is now. Hinata, can you take a look? I can, Ino-chan, but why? The girl asked. Naruto-kun probably wants to be alone, since he doesn't show himself to anyone. Besides, for some reason he is not very popular in Konoha. You noticed too? Ino asked. I recently saw him being kicked out of a store. And the owner called him a demon. Something is wrong with Naruto. But he never tells anything, Hinata sighed. He just has no friends and no one to share the news with, the blonde suggested. Let's go find him. With your Byakugan, you'll find him quickly. Good, Hyuga nodded, activating the dojutsu. Strange. I see two Narutos at once. One is wandering around the park, and the other is with the fox cub on the training ground. Where the fox cub is, there is Naruto, Ino stated firmly. And the other one, probably, just looks like him. Probably, Hinata agreed, and the friends went towards the training ground. I'll go after the girls, Itachi chuckled to himself. Let's see if they were right. Not bad, Naruto, Kurama said enthusiastically. The boy, who had become blonde again, smiled. He didn't even have to put up a regulating seal. It turned out that with good control over chakra, the balance can be easily shifted in any direction. Naruto could be a human, or, if he wanted, become an exact copy of the nine-tailed fox. He only had to block this or that part of his chakra. Now, next to Kurama the fox cub stood a greatly reduced copy of the nine tails. So this is how I look from the outside, laughed Kurama. I have quite a majestic appearance though. Naruto, having turned into a human again, also laughed. The big plus was that the fox instincts did not disappear anywhere even in a completely human form. Well, Kurama, are we going home? Asked Naruto. The fox cub nodded, but at that moment both pricked up their ears, hearing approaching footsteps and cheerful girlish chatter. Ino and Hinata, stated the fox. Mentally, since he had already disappeared from the clearing. I see, nodded Naruto. Oh, I hear. What do they need here? However, the question disappeared by itself when Naruto heard Ino's remark with his keen hearing. Hina-chan, has Naruto escaped from the training ground yet? I'll take a look now. Oh, he seems to have heard us. Don't talk nonsense. We haven't gotten close enough yet. But how else to explain the fact that he's looking in our direction now? Naruto grinned. Hinata always started to tremble in his presence. However, why she was trembling was a mystery to Naruto. Had she fallen in love or something? Yes, I did, and you, Naruto, like the last idiot, don't see it, the fox grinned, perfectly hearing the blonde's thoughts. The boy blushed, and at that moment the girls came out into the clearing. Hello, Naruto, Ino smiled. Changed your image again? Hello, Naruto-kun, Hinata greeted. Hello, Ino. Hello, Hinata, Naruto smiled back. Yeah, I just didn't really like being a redhead. What are you doing here? We're looking for you, the blonde suddenly became serious. Naruto, Hinata and I have, well, not exactly, okay. Ino cast a displeased glance at her friend. I have a question. I'm listening, the boy became wary. Why are you always alone? Do you have no friends at all? Ino asked. Naruto sighed. So what should I answer? He thought. I like them, and I don't want to lie to them. But if they find out the truth, their looks will become as icy as other people's. Try to tell it like it is, the fox suggested. By the way, there's another person watching us. Yeah, I know, Naruto answered mentally. Itachi. He's from Anbu, my new, so to speak, overseer. Naruto, why are you silent? Ino waved her hand in front of his nose. Sorry, I was lost in thought, the blonde replied. Are you sure you want to know the reason why I have no friends? Yes. Ino demanded, but then it dawned on her that she shouldn't be so categorical. Naruto, please tell me. Ino-chan, Hinata stammered. Naruto-kun probably doesn't like this topic. Oh well, whatever, the boy waved his hand. Sighing, he finally answered. Almost the entire population of Konoha hates me because the nine-tailed demon fox is sealed inside me. What? The blonde opened her mitten. Hinata looked at Naruto with frightened eyes. But her gaze didn't reflect hatred, but sympathy. This cheered up the Uzumaki. The fourth Hokage sealed the Kyuubi no Yoko inside me 7 years ago, Naruto repeated slowly and clearly. Most of the villagers believe that I am a demon, and that's why they hate me. Nonsense! Ino was indignant. You're not a demon. You're Naruto Uzumaki, a human. Well, not quite anymore, the boy grinned, overcome with revelation. I can become a fox if I want. How so? Yamanaka asked another question. Just like this, Naruto tensed up and dropped to all fours. His body began to transform, fangs and claws grew, his face stretched out, fur began to grow, and a tail appeared. Naruto, who had shown everything he wanted to show, looked into the girl's eyes with fear. However, there was no hatred there. There was silent delight. Great, Hinata exhaled, devouring Naruto the fox with her gaze. And you decided that we wouldn't be friends with such a cute fox? Ino asked with a laugh. You're silly, Naruto. Want to take us for a ride? Uzumaki offered, grinning. Can you stop us? Hinata smiled. Easy. Naruto grew 3 more tails. Climb up. Itachi, who was sitting in the tree, almost fell when he saw Naruto transform into a fox. But when he grew 4 tails and began to roll the girls who had come across the clearing, the Uchiha tried to remove the genjutsu from himself several times. Kai! He said to himself. Kai! Kai, no! It doesn't work. Either I'm sleeping and this is a bad dream, or this is not an illusion, but reality. Itachi pinched himself and gasped. It hurts. So it's the latter. But why then does it seem to me that all this is not real? When the girls had finished rolling, Naruto gently lowered them to the ground and turned into a human again. He looked at them with embarrassment, and began to wait for the verdict. Cool, Ino exhaled. I wish you could always roll like that. Thank you, Naruto-kun, Hinata smiled. She had already stopped shaking. So you liked it? The blonde asked hopefully. A lot. The friends answered in unison. If you thought that we wouldn't be friends because of some nine-tails, then you're very much mistaken, Naruto, Ino said. So we're friends now? Naruto asked. Of course, silly, Hyuga giggled. Great, Uzumaki smiled happily. Okay, it's late. You should probably go home. I'll walk you home. Actually, we live in different directions, Ino corrected. So, great trouble, Naruto grinned, crossing his fingers. Shadow cloning. 2 more blondes appeared next to him. We'll walk you home, the clones said in unison. And you, Naruto? Ino turned to the original. And I'll wait here for Kurama, Uzumaki answered. He'll be running out of the forest soon. Then, see you tomorrow, Naruto, Yamanaka said, taking one of the clones by the arm. Bye, Naruto-kun, Hinata said goodbye, doing the same with the second clone. When the girls left, Naruto watched them for a while. Then he turned to the nearest tree. Okay, Itachi. Don't pretend you're not there. Come down, we need to talk.